Confession number 1. Me and my father. When you find out that the dad you lost 6 years prior isn't even your biological father. Then for the next 10 years your biological says nothing. No contact. No questions. Fully aware of you, capable of contacting you at any point. But he doesn't. Stepdad ruins the life you had in those 10 years, drags you to court. Never loved you. I made it through this all without therapy or medication. Mentally unstable. Do I display the typical daddy issues? I denied it for the longest, but yes. I processed it all and made myself okay. Then after those 10 years you get a message. He's asking for your number. He says he'd like to talk to you. Your biological dad wants to know you. You can't help but get your hopes up and he says he's sorry. He says he wants to earn the title dad. You're excited. Then it turns into days without a message. One word replies. He hasn't asked what your middle name is. Does he know? He hasn't asked your birthday. Is it written on his calendar? Does he even care? Having met him now, and seeing how much we're alike. How much I want there to be love between us, it hurts even worse than not having him at all. All this time and every day that goes by without a message or call meases me up. What did you really want from me? Why did you contact me? Why not just leave me alone? Half-ass love hurts worse than none at all. All that work I put into fixing myself is being set so far back. I find myself losing confidence and wanting to act how I used to. I want to drink until I can't stand up. Self-destructive behavior. I want to text him and tell him how mad that makes me. I want to ask him those questions. But I'm also scared now that if I do, he'll really just be gone for good and he'll have to start over on myself. My soul is so tired of having to heal from the adults around me who shouldn't put me in situations I need to heal from in the first place. My soul is tired. I just want to be happy. Like deep down, really happy. Confession number 2. I hate myself. I spent all of my 20s hating myself. I dated a girl for 8 years, who really loved me and wanted to marry me. I made it difficult for her. My weight gain, empty promises and lack of commitment drove her away. Everything boils down to the fact that I hated myself so much that I did not believe that I deserved her and could ever make her happy. Confession number 3. Subscribe to my friend's sister's OnlyFans. Feel pretty bad for this one. But should I even? She is hot and I think she is hot. I don't think this is an issue, but it's a close friend I've known for a while and thinking about it makes me question myself a bit here. Confession number 4. Best friend from school died. So this was last night, when I heard about the news. It was heroin overdose, and a wave of memories came flooding back. I moved school and never kept in contact with him cause social media wasn't a thing and phones were still too expensive for me to have. It's just so strange how completely different the paths we took were. What would have happened if I kept in contact with him? Would I have been able to get him to not use? Would I have gotten him to realize his girlfriend was pushing him to use? Could I have saved him? Wherever you are, bud, rest easy. Confession number 5. I don't think I love anyone in my family and I feel sociopathic. My mom's side of the family we see very rarely, and as a kid I always felt like there was something off about them. My dad's side, however, I just feel 100% out of place. My aunt is very fashionable and I'm a butch gay. After a traumatic event in my life, we saw them even less. I don't enjoy spending time with them, or feel like they are good at decision making. We disagree on a lot, but I would always have to keep my mouth shut / dress up at dinner parties. Lately, my dad has been extremely close-minded. He alluded to my sexuality being something he had to deal with a while ago, and said very hurtful things about me wanting to non-legally changing my first name. I feel like there is very little I can share without judgment, especially since he has said disparaging things about plenty of non-binary folks, not necessarily saying he is a bad person, but he is unable to accept constructive criticism, and blows up at me when I try to lightly show him how his comments may be seen as insulting. Sometimes he is okay, but we have virtually nothing in common, and spending time with him is growing difficult. I leave for college soon, and hope this will repair our relationship a bit. However, it's gotten to the point where I've decided to restrict contact. And if I ever meet a girl or get married, I've decided I do not want him involved if nothing changes. Feeling like my father is a glorified roommate. I would only be sad to lose him for what he taught me, or my fear of being alone makes me feel absolutely insane. I began fantasizing about cooking for an actual family instead of us. He puts TV on at dinner, instead of talking to me, yet complains I am tech obsessed. And his borderline gaslighting behavior makes me want to move across the country. Sorry this is so long. and for possibly oversharing. Confession number 6. I fantasize about torturing my past bullies. From the 1st to 6th grade, I was bullied relentlessly by my classmates for being the weird kid. They always said I was weird even though I tried to be normal. In the 5th to 6th grade, my bullies were at their worst. They spread rumors about me and sometimes tripped me during recess, but I never saw who it was. Around the 5th to 6th grade, I met a girl named Kimberly who hung out with her group of friends during recess. She told me that if anyone bullies me, to tell her and she will beat them up. Of course, ironically, I never told her because I never wanted anyone to get hurt at the time. After I started hanging out with Kimberly, everyone started being nice to me for some strange reason, and I even overheard one of the kids in my class say yeah, ever since he started hanging out with Kimberly, everyone started being nice to him. But, the damage is done. I became less social and introverted as a result of all the bullying. I now suffer from social anxiety and I'm very quiet. I also have poor verbal communication skills. So I just graduated high school and I started having these thoughts. I got high off of DXM and I think it struck a chord in me. It made me think about how I shouldn't be the way I am, and how it was pounded into me all these years. I started fantasizing about tying up my bullies in a dark room and bending their joints backwards until they snap. Then force them to chug Benadryl syrup until they overdose or have a really bad trip. I don't mind sharing all this anymore. I just don't. Confession number 7. Lost dream job because of spam folder. I applied for this dream job never expecting to hear back. It was the perfect job with the perfect title and perfect location. I waited. And waited. And figured they found someone else. I moved on. Today I checked my spam folder for no particular reason. I pretty much checked it out of boredom. There's the job interview. They even followed up a second time. 2 weeks too late. Opportunity lost due to Gmail putting the offer in spam. And it's my fault for not checking. I just hate myself right now. Confession number 8. I am selfish and stupid. A couple of years ago my grandmother passed away. My parents always tell me that she adored me and that I made her so happy, but I wasn't good enough to her. My sister told me how when she came home from work, my grandmother would cry to her because she felt all alone, and because no one would visit her often. I loved her so much, I think about her all the time, but I was so selfish back then that I would barely even talk to her, and barely even see her. One night a couple of weeks before she died, I remember she was in so much pain, she had lung cancer and was on high doses of medication, that she woke up at like 4 a.m. and was crying. Me, my mom and my sister all sat with her in the living room and I remember she said something along the lines of "I've finally got a family that wants to be around me and I can't even stay around to see it." It genuinely destroyed me. I think about it all the time. To her it looks like I never cared unless I wanted something, that I didn't want to spend time with her. I doubt she even knew at the time that I was finally making an effort. She was dosed up on so much morphine that she was mostly unconscious and wasn't acting like herself. We tried to care for her at home because we wanted her to be comfortable. My parents cleared out of their room and slept in the conservatory so she could have a hospital bed in there, but it eventually got to be too much and she had to be moved to a hospital. When they took her, I came to say goodbye and she barely even responded. She looked afraid. She really didn't want to go. I could see it and I was so upset, and when I said goodbye to her she didn't even know who I was and I had to tell her to remind her. I never saw her alive again. A couple of days later she was dead. I am so selfish. I never gave her my time and I hate myself for it. I can't bear the thought of her suffering emotionally and feeling like I didn't care about her. I loved her so much, I was just too stupid to show her that. Confession number 10. Feelings. I'm so tired of constantly having to do everything for everyone and not getting anything in return. And yet nobody notices how much it's affecting me because I'm constantly there for everyone and no one is here for me. But why? Isn't there good karma as well? I do good things and want to get good things in return, but I don't. I never get anything in return. Maybe I should be grateful that I don't get anything in return instead of only getting bad things in return. So at least it isn't that bad, but I still want good things to come to me for doing good things.